Hello, World Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. Happy Friday, September 30th. Time for another store review. And you may have already noticed here, I'm coming to you from a different account. This is my EU account where I only have 49 tanks, still grinding those tech tree tanks. And I think that gives me a great perspective on what's important in the store. And hopefully I can relay that on to you guys, especially some of the newer players that might be struggling with the amount of silver or free XP that they have in their garage. And you can see here, I've got the Shark pulled up, the Progetto here, two must-own premium tanks in my opinion. I've also got some other tanks which would not have been my first choice had they not come from crates. And that is the thing with crates. Sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get. And you might even get a tank like the LT432, which you can see here, I have not even equipped because I don't really want to play it. It's a very difficult tank to play. But that segues me into the Golden Autumn event because you can see here is the LT432, and you can get that tank for, air quotes here, free if you spend enough gold or money to get gold in the store. We'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, this event, which lasts for 8 days, you're going to get 3 red flags for every victory in tier 5 through tier 10 tanks. Basically, you're just going to get your way all the way up here. At a minimum, I would say you want to get the 200 gold here because that's going to get you 500 free gold just for winning battles. You can see here, I'm already at level 3.5 and I still have 136 flags to go. Divide that by 3 to get the number of battles we need. To get to the top, you're going to get a Chinese crate. Good tanks in here. We'll talk about that in a second, though. 356 victories. That's what, 120 more victories to go. That is a lot. Not sure if I will make it there in 7 days and 16 hours. The top is for leaflets. Kind of hard to see here on this background. And let me break this down. Essentially, some points I think probably the best way to talk about it is where would you want to land? You know, what are you going to get that's beneficial? Obviously, 5x boosters are great for those of us that are grinding tanks. Make sure that you are always using a 5x booster if you have them on your tech tree tanks that you are grinding. So I'm going to need 74 leaflets to get all the way up to here. To get to the Chinese container, 132. So keep that in mind. To get to the 25x boosters, we need 436. It's jumping up high. To get 2,000 gold, we need 624. That's going to be about $100 you have to spend in the store. To get this horn, which you can then convert into one of these tanks for free, you need 912. That's going to be about $150. But I'm going to make sure that I show you how to get the most gold for that money if you do decide to go that route. So let's jump into the store. There's a lot left over from last week. I'll try to go through it quickly. Menacing Trio. 2 of these tanks I really like. The T44-85, you know, it's not a bad tank. When I first started playing the game, mediums were the tank everyone played, and this was a good tank back in the day. Now, more people play heavy tanks. And so I think if the first 2 tanks are more well suited to play against heavy tanks, the Chimera, I would say, is a must own. 20,000 gold. There is a deal a little bit below here for just the 2 of them for 17,500. I still think the price is a little on the high side for those 2 tanks. But the Chimera by itself sells for 10,000 gold. And, you know, while we'd love to see a tier 8 premium tank sell for 8,500, you are paying because this is one of the best medium tanks out there at tier 8. We talked about the epic bundle and the indestructible defense last week, so if you missed it, go get that. The 2 downsides I see to this is you're going to get 105x boosters, and that means really that you should be playing all 100 battles on tech tree tanks. If you're like me, I don't have enough tech tree tanks to play 100 battles and be able to use those to maximize. I'm going to basically have unlocked the tank ahead. And if you don't have enough silver resources to buy the next up tier tank, you're wasting those 5x boosters. So I don't like the idea of getting 100 5x boosters all at one time. 20, 10, 15, somewhere in there is a good number if you ask me. Do those in chunks if at all possible. And then the Type 57 is a relatively new tank, and so the price on this is extremely high. The Kampfpanzer 70 has been around a while, and it should be a lot cheaper than it is. There's only 4 premium tanks at tier 9, and really, it shouldn't be more than 9,000 gold really for it. So you are paying way too much for the Type 57 in this bundle. The Progetto, like I said, I feel like this is a must-own tank. I'm fine with this price here. You're going to get 14 days of premium time and some 5x boosters. Unfortunately, only good for the Progetto. The WZ111 is 2 ways to potentially get this tank here. 20,000 gold, which I feel is a little bit high for this tank. Feel like it should be at 15 max. Just a little bit about the tank. It's got a great turret on it. It plays very well hull down. The gun is actually not too bad as far as accuracy for this type of tank. Good mobility for a heavy. Just does not have the hull armor that you would really wish for. 20,000 gold, like I said, a little bit high, but you can, for $10, kind of gamble on this in the container, right? And you have, let's look at this. You're going to, at a minimum, walk away with 5,000 gold on this. So 500 gold per dollar. Not a horrible deal, but there are better deals out there for gold. And a 20% chance of getting this tank. So I like these containers the best because you know at a minimum what you're going to get. And you're kind of gambling to try to get that tier 10 tank. The Alpha Predator containers, I really do not like these containers one bit. They are very enticing because of all of the tier 10 tanks in them. But beware, you only have a 5% drop chance. If you get a tank you already have, you're only going to get silver, and there's no gold or anything else to go with this. It's straight to boosters. And that is what disappoints me the most about these containers. Some of the containers out there at least are going to give you gold in return, and it doesn't feel like that bad of a deal. Whereas this, if you don't get the tank, I think you're going to feel pretty upset. We talked about the Watchful Patrol already. Here's a new bundle, and this is a big bundle. Not my favorite bundle, and I'll tell you why here in a second. The price is really not bad. Obviously, these 5X are going to be for the specific tank. The tank you really want out of this is the Lowe there. Very strong, great credit coefficient tank. It's not the best heavy out there, but once you learn how to angle this, and the armor is pretty strong except for a little bit of weak spot here in the front. After that, the Panther 8.8. If you like fast-firing guns, and also if you can get this thing hull down, it's got a very narrow turret, as you can see here. Although the armor is not super great, it is a medium tank after all. Those are the 2 good tanks out of this. The Tiger 131 is more buying this for the iconicness of it. It is a fun tank, don't get me wrong. I love the mobility of this, but again, tier 6. And I just really do not like the Panther M10. It's kind of slow. Armor's not too bad for a medium tank, but I like my medium tanks to be a little bit faster. But the price on this is really not bad. However, I don't feel you're getting any top tier premium tanks out of it. As we talked about last week on the Great Choice, the good thing about this is that you are guaranteed a tank. The bad thing is that more than likely you're going to end up with a tier 5 or tier 6 tank, and I'd rather spend money on a tier 8, 9, or 10 tank, to be honest with you. Subscription to resources. This is a great deal. for the sense that you are getting 35x boosters, 50,000 free XP, and 3,000 gold for $5. Just in the gold alone, that's 600 gold per dollar. The deal, though, you have to check in every single day to claim this. It's only 10 days, so it's not like the monthly subscription where you have to check in every day for a month. And so that 50,000 free XP and 35x boosters are really great for accounts like this one right here, where I'm still grinding tanks, and I may just end up purchasing this one. Double impact here. We've got the T44 100 and the T54 Mod 1. 8,000 gold for 2 tier 8. Kind of below medium level, medium tanks as far as where I would grade these out. I like the Mod 1 a little bit better because it has good armor. This is a great tank for realistic mode because people don't realize how strong that armor really is. But pen is not great on this tank, and it suffers because of all of its armor. It suffers with mobility. So again, not a bad price for these two tanks. However, again, not tanks I feel like you're probably going to want to pull out quite frequently and play quite often. Churchill Mark 6, not a bad tank in of itself. Still a little bit slow here, and also a tier 6 tank. 5x boosters are good just for the Churchill. So again, the price is reasonable for the tank, but again, not a fan of this tank myself. Too late in the game to talk about the battle pass. The month is over. A32, just stay away from it. Don't like that tank at all. We talked about the Kampfpanzer 50T. Charms, you're going to have to buy a lot of crates to potentially get that tank. Resources, want to point out here for those of you that do have a lot of silver, go ahead and just buy all 3 of these. Might as well. I like the cooldown boosters. Obviously, they're beneficial in game to speed up the amount of time that you can use those consumables. But I would not be spending gold on it, okay? So let's move on down. I don't like the gold ratio here on these packs. So I do like where we're at when we get to the 2x. We can get some 600, 700 gold per dollar purchases out, and I'll show you how in a second. Let's just talk briefly about the tanks individually here. Tiger 131 for only 2,000. Again, tier 6. How often are you guys playing tier 6? But the price is pretty good there. Panther, 5,000 gold for it. I'm okay with that price. This is a tank that can actually make some decent money. The Panther M10, no, pass on it. The Lowe 5,500. That's a great price for a tier 8 tank that's going to make you a lot of money. And if you're thinking about it and you're like, hey, those two alone are only 500 less than this one, jump on this bundle then. And here we get to the free tanks, the LT432. We'll talk about it here just briefly. But like I said, that is a lot of leaflets that you have to get in order to get this tank. You can see how small it is, how low profile. It's got great mobility. When I first started playing this tank on my other account, I struggled mightily on pen on this. You really have to use your maneuverability in order to get to weak spots on other tanks. And also, you are low to the ground, but you have a 5 degrees of gun depression on this tank. Also makes it difficult, trying to play over hills and whatnot. So this would not be a recommendation. The Somme here, French heavy tank, it's decent, but like a lot of the French tanks, you don't want to expose any of the sides. It's got the nice auto loader. It's a decent tank, but I wouldn't put this one as my tank that I would cash in. I would go for the WZ112. Nice big gun on it, 400 average damage. It is a little bit slow for a medium tank. But yeah, there's that 400 damage, 4.5 aim time, 7 degrees of gun depression. So the gun handling on it is not great, and it's a little bit slow, but I think it would be my favorite of those 3 tanks. And it is a a lesser version of the Chimera is the way I would put it, just because it doesn't have that mobility that the Chimera does. T44 for 4,000 and the T54 for 5,000. We talked about those earlier. You know, reasonable tanks, reasonable prices, but again, not tanks I feel like you're going to be pulling out frequently. So there's the Chimera for 10,000, the Skoda T27 for 8,500. We talked about these last week, so I'm really not going to go into too much detail on those, other than the fact that I do think Chimera is a must-own tank. All of these other tanks we've talked about, and so this is something I don't normally talk about because I have all of these tanks here in my garage. These are the tanks that are still available, the premiums that are still for sale for those of you that don't already own them. These tanks come and go throughout the game for much better prices, so stay away from these if you can, and try to, if you're interested in them, get them for cheaper later on during the year when they're for sale. All right, so now we get to the gold, and you can see here's the leaflets, right? And so really you're going to have to spend close to $150 to get the amount of leaflets you need to get the tank for free. But what I want to point out here is that if you're like me, maybe you've cashed in on some of the 2x bonuses here, and you can see where it says 250 gold equals 500 gold. That's when you know you're getting double the gold than you normally would. So 500 gold per dollar for a $1 investment, not bad at all. But the more you spend, the more likely you are to get more gold per dollar. However, if it says like Serious Intentions or Quarterman Stash, those ones you can tell here that I have already purchased those and used up the 2x bonus. But if I can do this smoothly here, we're going to switch on over to the website here. And this is na.wargaming.net shop WOTB/gold. I'll leave a link in the description, but you can see here that they also have some good deals for gold. $50 here, 35,000 gold, 700 gold per dollar, and you're going to get 324 of the spikelets that they call them. But like I said, in order to get to that 900 number that you need for the free tank, you're going to have to spend about $150 here. So when you go through this, and some of the items here I found interesting are in here twice. Well, actually, this one is not double. This is $100 for $375, so this one's the double one. Make sure you double check that you're getting twice the gold. You want to be about 600 to 700 gold when you make that purchase there. So let's go on back here to the game and finish up with the review. Don't know if there's really anything left. Just make sure you're opening your free containers there. We talked about those. Yeah, so that's going to be it, guys. We do have burning games going on. Great way to use up your 2x bonuses that don't count towards your battle statistics, and a good way to grind tanks as well. So hope you have fun out there. Stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.